help, and boy did he. Let's get down to Amanda.
Well, Greg, Dave Musial Jr. sets the track record here in race number 1 in Homestead, and you get that first win. Why was today your day?
You know, me and my coach, my coach Tony Kester, he's awesome. He really works with me. He's really why I'm doing as well as I'm doing. He's constantly working with me. The team is great. Conquest Racing is great. Ferrari Lake Forest is great. All their support. I just think it's everybody's support is what made me successful today. So it was awesome.
And now Holden, your third win. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, he just made a very clear testament to something that is often forgotten, because at the end of the race, as you take a look at the results here, we're interviewing the driver, right? But it is a team sport, and without those guys, and I always say it, the crews are the unsung heroes of this sport, and they are amazing. So Musial, Campbell, and Aiken fill out the Copichelle podium with Coleman and Watt rounding out the top 5. Then Benoit Bergeron right there in 6th. Seldorf, Whittall, Cyril Choksi, and Mike Luley.
Happy anniversary, Tony. Just want to tell you how much I value your friendship and how much I enjoyed our 7 a.m. line lessons at Autobahn. They helped me with my racing, and they turned out to be therapy sessions for both you and I. I look forward to continuing to work with you, helping me with my racing, and happy anniversary.
Congratulations, Tony. Tony. I'm supposed to tell him what I admire about you. Well, 50 years without a job is absolutely amazing. And I was supposed to tell him about things I admire you about. Well, you can always sort people out pretty well. You're always real good. I was thinking about some of the things we did together. Remember that time when we peed? Never mind. You know what? Tim and Craig might hear this. Remember when we went and did that? Wait, Mark and Gritter might hear this one. Boy. Well, you're a great guy, Tony, so enjoy your 50-year anniversary. We love you very much.
Enjoy your 50 year. Have a fun evening.
Hi, honey. Few of us actually know what we want to do when we enter college, and even fewer of us know what we want to do when we're kids. Many of us don't even stay in our careers throughout our life, but you managed to not only know what you wanted to do when you were a kid, but you managed to jump into a career without any roadmap, and you successfully carved out a path for yourself for 50 years in one where many dream of, but certainly don't accomplish. Through blood, sweat, and a lot of pain, probably some tears, you won some championships, and you created an entirely new industry where I know that some have found home in coaching and mentoring others that you've taught. Most of us will never know how many people we've touched in our lives, but you're really lucky because you actually get to see the results of the knowledge in your mentoring over the years and the successes of those that you have coached. I'm happy to be one of those that were lucky enough to be in your sphere of influence. In the 9 years that I've actually known you, you not only taught me how to drive a stick shift and race competitively, but you also taught me a lot of life lessons. Like we have to take care of those that we love, and apologizing is never a bad thing. It just makes you a better person. And I'm really proud of you. I'm proud to know you. I'm proud to know the wonderful man that you are. And congratulations on 50 years in racing.
Mi amigo Tony, my brother, 50 years in racing. That is amazing. It's been an honor to be able to work with you since our days at Mid-Ohio. Learned a lot from you. It's been absolutely awesome seeing you now at all the races in Ferrari Challenge. I hope that you have another amazing 50 years in motorsports and in racing. You're an awesome coach, and you're a great friend, and it's been a pleasure to know you and to work with you, and always great fun to see you, my friend. All the best and congratulations. You're awesome.
Tony, congratulations on 50 years of a racing career. It's been one hell of a career, and I count myself lucky to call you both a friend and to call you my teacher and to call myself your student. You taught me a hell of a lot. We've had a hell of a lot of fun. And I know that there's more to learn and more fun to be had. I appreciate everything you've done for me and countless others. And it's also been a lot of fun, buddy. So here's to 50 more years of you being the fastest and the funnest guy on track. Again, thank you, and all the best.
Hey Tony, Mark Bloom coming to you from the international headquarters of Bloom Racing Enterprises. That's Alice behind me, Mitchell's Corvette. Hey, sorry I couldn't make the party. Hope you're having a good time. Hope you had a good turnout. We actually have to work this weekend both days. Had to get those last two programs of the season in, so that's why I couldn't be there. But funny story, real quick. The night before Tommy called me to tell me about your party, I watched one of your first races on ESPN Classics, and that was a blast. I had no idea those chariots were that fast. That was really awesome. But seriously, hope you're doing well. I'll probably give you a call in a week or two, and we'll kind of get an annual thing going with our Christmas phone call to catch up. So I'll talk to you then. But again, hope you're having a good time, and take
out here to help, and boy did he. Let's get down to Amanda.
Well, Greg, Dave Musial Jr. sets the track record here in race number 1 in Homestead, and you get that first win. Why was today your day?
You know, me and my coach, my coach Tony Kester, he's awesome. He really works with me. He's really why I'm doing as well as I'm doing. He's constantly working with me. The team is great. Conquest Racing is great. Ferrari Lake Forest is great. All their support. I just think it's everybody's support is what made me successful today. So it was awesome.
And now holding your third win. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, he just made a very clear testament to something that is often forgotten, because at the end of the race, as you take a look at the results here, we're interviewing the driver, right? But it is a team sport, and without those guys, and I always say it, the crews are the unsung heroes of this sport, and they are amazing. So Musial, Campbell, and Aiken fill out the Copichelle podium with Coleman and Watt rounding out the top 5. Then Benoit Bergeron right there in 6th, Seldorf, Whittall.
Tony, congratulations on 50 years in racing. That's quite an accomplishment. I was listening to an interview with Townsend Bell the other day, and he said a great racing career usually starts with either a lie or a con, or both. So I guess that explains how you probably got your start in this career. Really enjoyed getting to know you through the past years, both personally and professionally. Thank you for all that you've taught me. I think the Germans have a really good saying, and it says some people are a little bit like a coconut. So they're hard on the outside, but they have a very soft core. And I think that may be a good description. That's what I love about you. You've got a big heart, and it comes through both personally and professionally. So from your fan base here in Northwest Indiana, the teams at BMW Cherville and South Shore Jaguar Land Rover, congratulations on this achievement. We're really proud of you. Wendy and I look forward to celebrating with you and Cheryl sometime very soon. Have a lot of fun tonight. Thanks.
Hey Tony, congratulations on your 50 years in racing and your upcoming birthday, by the way. Welcome to the Old Man's Club. Although you're still going strong, I really enjoyed working with you for those last 15 years or so and our interesting philosophical discussions. With the recent success you've had with coaching, I'm convinced I should have had you help me with data analysis. I'm sure it would have helped me a lot. Congratulations on your recent successes and continue the good work. Thanks for your friendship and look forward to seeing you soon. Sally and I both. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye now.
Hi, Tony. Congratulations on the amazing milestone of 50 years in the racing world. We certainly are happy and thrilled to be a small part of that, and we appreciate all that you've done helping teach us and Stephen lots of your knowledge, and we especially appreciate the friendship we've had over these years. Congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Congrats!
Hi, Dad. Happy 50 years in racing. We are so proud of you and thankful to be here celebrating you tonight. Thank you for all the fun memories over the years. And Rose and Sebastian said they are ready for their first hot lap, right, guys? Say cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
out here to help, and boy did he. Let's get down to Amanda.
Well, Greg, Dave Musial Jr. sets the track record here in race number 1 in Homestead, and you get that first win. Why was today your day?
You know, me and my coach, my coach Tony Kester, he's awesome. He really works with me. He's really why I'm doing as well as I'm doing. He's constantly working with me. The team is great. Conquest Racing is great. Ferrari Lake Forest is great. All their support. I just think it's everybody's support is what made me successful today. So it was awesome.
And now holding your third win. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, he just made a very clear testament to something that is often forgotten because, at the end of the race, as you take a look at the results here, we're interviewing the driver, right? But it is a team sport. And, without those guys, and I always say it, the crews are the unsung heroes of this sport. And they are amazing. So Musial, Campbell, and Aiken fill out the Copichelle podium with Coleman and Watt rounding out the top 5. Then Benoit Bergeron right there in 6th. Seldorf, Whittall, Cyril Choksi, and Mike.
Tony. What are we celebrating here? 150 years in racing? Probably feels that way sometimes. What do I think of when people ask me about Tony Kester? Which no one does. I'm just kidding. I still, I've said this many a times, it'll come as no surprise, but I still consider Tony to be my life coach. Not my racing coach, which was his formal title for many years. And I told him back then, and I'll say it again, whenever any interaction with him starts to become more than 50% related to racing, whether that's advice, knowledge sharing, conversations on a trip, maybe even 25%. If it's more than 25% racing, let's say, going forward, you'll become my racing coach. But as anyone that's met Tony knows, quickly the conversation becomes who knows what. Something about some World War II fighter plane that you start to maybe tune out a little bit, Cheryl. Or it becomes, political or historical or who knows what. You start hearing about, his diet and how he needs some, pineapple to stop at the store to get, but it can't have sugar on it, or, who knows what. But I've never met anyone that I think keeps every race weekend as entertaining as it is. Who would have thought you'd still be, A, alive, but B, thriving, healthy, still driving race cars and impacting young drivers, both on track and off, for better or worse. I think it's so great that you hooked up with the Musial clan. You guys are a match made in heaven. I'm sorry I can't be there. I've a 2-year-old daughter and a 4-month-old son, and they're both sick, and we decided to make the terrible decision to get a puppy. So our hands are quite full at the moment. Otherwise, I'd love to drive out to the middle of nowhere in Joliet and celebrate. But I'll be celebrating from afar. Tony, I always think of you. You've forever impacted my life. And you're honestly a joy and super important person in so many people's lives, right? There's literally hundreds and hundreds or thousands of people like me that could say you've made a positive impact. So it's not just wheeling around cars and having fun on track. It's really the whole shebang. So thanks for everything you've done. Have a good night, and call me.
one that ripped their pants in my car.
Hey, Tony. Marguerite and I would like to congratulate you on 50 years in racing. That's quite an accomplishment. For most people, 10 years doing something is great, but you've been at it a long time. We haven't known you that long. We've only been at the club about 8 years or so. But in that time, you've done a nice job of helping me get better as a driver. And we do appreciate your tips on how to set the car up. We've come to learn that setting up the suspension, steering and brakes and tires is just as important as power and torque on these cars. So congratulations on 50 years and best of luck on the next 50. Thanks.
Yo, Tony, what can I say? You've been a mentor, a tutor, but more importantly, a good friend for the last 12, 15 years, whatever it's been. I've lost track. I'm very honored and proud to be a part of this celebration. I have many stories I could tell, but maybe that's for a different time. Thanks again for all you've done for me, and good luck on your adventures going forward. And remember, talk to you soon.
Hey, Tony, congratulations on 50 years, man. We are so happy to be here tonight and so thankful for all you've done for the family, for me, the boys, and teaching us how to be race car drivers.
Maybe one day he'll win a plastic trophy.
Hi, Tony. Hey, everyone. Jim Swintel here from IndyCar and IMSA. Back in 1977, I was a junior in college. I had a visiting professor who will also happen to be an SCCA racer. He told me that, you've got a really great Formula 4 driver here in South Bend region, and his name is Tony Kester. And that was the first I've ever heard of Tony. 20 years later, we finally met in the paddock at Laguna Seca. I was happy to find out that he wasn't some kind of a racing Superman. He was just another Northern Indiana asshole like myself. Now, as for the curious, or if you're from Indiana, ask Tony where the boundary between Northern Indiana and Southern Indiana is. It's probably not where you think. Anyway, we met in 2003 because Tony had signed on to help Chris Neifel become an assistant steward for CART. He really did a good job, despite the obstacle that the drivers thought he was full of shit because he'd never driven an Indy car before. Now, I won't get into the man crush that he developed on one of our drivers at the time. I'll let him explain that to you. But unfortunately, Tony lasted only 1 year because his Northern Indiana rebel soul couldn't tolerate being part of the racing establishment. So he went back to being a competitor, and that was our loss. Tony grew up in Michigan City, Indiana, and he went to Michigan City High School, who were then known as the Red Devils. So I'll leave you with a salutation that any Red Devil would be able to understand, and that Tony has probably heard many times. So Tony, good night, good luck, and go to hell.
Hey Tony, thanks for everything that you've done, and I appreciate all the time and effort that you spent helping coach me. And I know that I definitely wouldn't be where I am in racing without you. And I'm very fortunate and honored to be able to call you my coach. And I just want you to know too that as I go through the track, your voice and words of wisdom will always be in my mind driving the car. So thanks, Tony, and here's to you.
Kester, Davy Jones. I understand that you're celebrating 50 years in motor racing. I'm right there with you. We've had a lot of good times through the years. Your racetracks worldwide. Here I am at Sebring International Raceway. It's celebrated 50 years, I think, a few years ago. So, you know, we've done a lot of laps around many different racetracks and had a lot of good times, learned a lot of stuff along the way, and always enjoyed our times together. So have a great celebration. Look forward to seeing you at Autobahn. We'll reach out and touch base soon, all right? All the best, Tony. Have fun. Take care.
Howdy, y'all. Bo Barfield here. Sorry I couldn't be there. Tommy did call me a couple of weeks ago and invited me to Chicago, telling me there was a special event happening for our old friend Tony Kester. And I thought to myself immediately, shit, did that old fucker finally die? And he said, no, this is about his 70th birthday. And then come to find out later, evidently the event is more about a 50-year anniversary in racing. So whatever the case, 70th birthday, 50-year anniversary, a special tribute certainly is in order. I distinctly remember meeting Tony for the first time at the runoffs at Road Atlanta in 1992. I knew who Tony was because he was the 1990 Formula Ford national champion. That was quite an accomplishment at the time. And I thought when I met him, wow, what an old guy to be running around against these younger open-wheel drivers. But now I look back at that thought and I think, he was 10 years younger then than I am right now. So maybe I should lighten up on the old guy jokes. That's pretty unlikely. Fast forward a few years to 1997. I managed to keep in touch over the years with an old Houston racing acquaintance of mine, Brian Till. Of course, he was in charge of the Mid-Ohio School and invited me to come do some work with that group. That's where I got to know Tony and we became friends. Among the memories and things that Tony liked to talk about, one, he's a big fan of Einstein's theory of relativity. So Tony surmised that because race car drivers spend more time close to the speed of light, they age less than other people. And I look at all this gray hair in my beard and I think, that fucker lied to me again. But anyway, Tony also liked to talk about when he started racing, which I remember was 1972. He finished the story one day and I asked him, Tony, what month in 1972 did you start racing? And he told me, and I can't remember what the answer was, but he also asked me then, why are you asking what month? And I said, well, I'm trying to figure out how old I was when you started racing because it would have to be counted in months, not years. Fast forward a few years later. In 2001, I got a call to do some coaching in Ferrari Challenge. If you know anything about Ferrari Challenge at the time, Tommy and Tony were the Ferrari Challenge coaching mafia. They said who got what job and how much anybody got paid. So Tony pulled me aside and said, you charge this amount and nothing less. And I felt like really good about myself because I'm thinking, Tony must think really highly of my coaching for me to charge that much because it was more than I was used to getting paid at the time. And then I look back now, and how naive was I? He didn't give a shit about how good or how bad I was coaching. He just didn't want me to go in there at a lower price and screw up the market for him and Tony. Anyway, a couple years after that, Chris Neifel and I managed to convince Tony to come work with us in Champ Car, where he was a steward. And lots of memories from that year, but among the best, the drive from the Portland hotel to the racetrack. And if you've ever stayed at the airport hotels, you know that you drive right down the runway to get to the track, to the west. All the way there, every day, there and back, Tony was infatuated with the fact that you could get a Stinger missile and take any airplane right out of the sky. We were extremely entertained and equally disturbed by how convinced Tony was of this happening. Another memory from that year was that we had some trouble officiating blocking. And so Tony finally responded directly to the drivers in the meeting. No blocking was any longer allowed. No moves, and we would call any move and penalize any driver who moved to defend their position. The only thing dumber than that position was the fact that Chris Neifel bought it, and that's the way we officiated for the next few years. Anyway, those are my good memories of Tony. Tony, happy 70th, happy 50th. I did dress for the occasion, and what I thought would be absolutely appropriate Tony wear for today, since I couldn't be there. And yes, I know that I'm on selfie mode, so this is backwards and you'd have to read it. I've never worn this shirt before today, but thought it was so appropriate because it screams Tony Kester. It says, "I'm not always a dick. Just kidding. Go fuck yourself." How appropriate for Tony. Love you, man. Have a good one.
Tony, congratulations, mate. 50 years in the biz. What can I say? At your age, you must have gotten a really, really late start. But all kidding aside, congratulations. As the boys probably told you, I was supposed to be there, and a couple of nights ago came down with a big vid. Feel okay, just a head cold and all the normal nonsense, but unfortunately not going to be able to make the trip, but I'll be there in spirit. What's really disappointing is that I'd actually sourced one of your rear sway bars from a Sports 2000 from back in the 80s, and even got Delta to agree to take it as checked baggage, even though it's over 50 pounds, but that'll have to wait for next time. I know you always loved the stiff one, and hopefully you still have a stiff one. But speaking of that, have a few stiff ones tonight with the boys. Again, apologies, mate. We'll make it up. We'll get together soon, I promise. And love you, brother. Have a great time. Cheers.